Hello everyone, Dynamode here. A short opinion piece between two games. A comparison about Tides of Annihilation and Stellar Blade. There has been talks about the resurgence of beautiful video game women, this and that, which I'm all for it, I love it. And yeah, I'm sure you heard this conversation 100 times before over the internet. But I want to level with you guys here. Tides of Annihilation looks very captivating, not in terms of graphics and art direction, but the world and characters. The main character, Gwendolyn, who can summon spiritual warriors in the post-apocalyptic London, where the story is surrounded by the Arthurian legend. The concept alone won me over a bit. Then I did a contrast. In my opinion, appearances can look gorgeous on the surface, but once you finally consume it, play it, or indulge it yourself, you begin to realize that glamour fades away really fast. And that was my opinion on Stellar Blade. Now, don't get me wrong, the game Stellar Blade is pretty looking, especially when it comes to the main protagonist, Eve. She's sexy for sure, a well-designed character, and honestly, I'm really thankful of the video content I made about her. She really gave my channel a much needed boost. I am forever grateful of Stellar Blade. However, I do have my distaste for the game as well. If you're new here, I made a video review about the pros and cons about Stellar Blade. It's a good game, but far from perfect. But if you're pressed on time, let me sum up my thoughts. Graphics are excellent, art direction is above average. Combat and gameplay is above average. The RPG stuff, it feels tacked on and weak, could be better. The music and soundtrack, a perfect 10 out of 10. The level design is decent, but nothing amazing. Finally, the character, lore, and story, I give it a 1 out of 10. That's my biggest gripe. So, the main character Eve, despite how hot she is, she and the rest of the cast are utterly boring. They're all flat with no personality whatsoever. All these interactions, the people, are so goddamn robotic. A bunch of stiff-ass, cardboard cutout manufactured dolls. Besides Eve's lack of charisma and facial expression, the biggest offender was the lore and story. To sum up the story without spoilers, the conclusion does not hit you until near the end of Act 3. More so, it does not give you any hints, clues, or trails to follow to what lead up to that finale. It was poorly executed. Every NPC within that game felt so detached and held by cheap glue onto that world. I know I sound harsh towards Stellar Blade, but I do have some leniency towards the developers, Shift Up, because I understand that single-player story-driven games in Korea are not their forte, meaning it's not their specialty, since the country's gaming market are mostly mobile phones and online multiplayer. However, you can still be critical on what you like. Stellar Blade, as pretty as you are with decent gameplay, when it comes to themes, storytelling, characterization, and harmonizing aesthetics, you are bottom tier in that department. That is also plagued by some culture war bullshit whose people chases after an imaginary boogeyman. So this brings me back to Tides of Annihilation, developed by an up-and-coming studio named Eclipse Glow Games from Chengdu, Sichuan, China. I am beginning to notice that action combat games from Asia, not specifically from Japan, are dipping their foot into the single-player console market lately these past few years. Quite a contrast from their mobile multiplayer market. Interesting change of focus, and I welcome that. Anyways, I am way more intrigued with Tides of Annihilation compared to Stellar Blade for quite a few reasons that I know some of you may disagree with, and here's why. Number 1. Stellar Blade was more focused on the horny than the gameplay, characters, and story. Let's all admit, even myself, all those booty shots sold us on the game. While I do enjoy sultry looking women in my video games, that's only surface level to me. It's an additional bonus. Because if she doesn't have a decent backstory, or at least a charming personality that makes her stand out, then she's a doll, nothing more. On the other hand, in Tides of Annihilation, the main protagonist, Gwendolyn, observing the trailer, they already established her motivation and objective to the audience. We understand her goal and drive from the beginning. More so, they showcase her character flaws. She has doubts, mistrusts of everything, and she knows she carries a heavy burden that will take a toll on her, which makes Gwendolyn a bit more grounded compared to Eve, who seems almost too perfect, a Mary Sue. Number 2. The character design. The humanoid model for Eve is hot, but her base outfit makes no sense to me. Thematically speaking, Eve's attire looks blatantly like a schoolgirl from space and a swimsuit. Eve looked like she belonged in a different game. Other characters, on the other hand, like Raven and Tachi, appear more combat ready. Their suits were designed for conflict and action. Their attire looked more believable in the world they belong in compared to Eve's. Again, this brings me back to Gwendolyn, where the game revolves around the Arthurian legend. They explore themes relating to that setting, thereby giving her medieval armor with a fantastical flair while keeping some amount of sex appeal. Apart from Gwen's beauty, the main attraction is more of her motif. her artistic composition held by the historical context. Okay, closing the video. I know I sound like I'm bashing Stellar Blade a lot, but I like the game. I just wish it could have done better. I praise Shift Up for wanting to be unique and outstanding among their country's own gaming market. I highly respect that. It's a small foot in the door that led them to big success, with even bigger success once Stellar Blade hits PC. Congratulations PC gamers, I know you guys are going to have a great time with this game. Anyways, I admire Shift Up for what they brought back to the gaming scene. Ass and titties are a big seller, there's no denying that, I love it. But I find it problematic that certain fandoms and communities behind these type of games gets entangled in these unnecessary mess among these particular content creators who like to start trouble that doesn't exist, especially when they take things out of context. For those unaware, sexy characters never left gaming. They were just laid dormant for quite a long time. Trends come and go. That's how things work. Thank you all for watching. Dynamite out.